What up, boys?
My name is Tasty.
I heard you wanted to get better at old school RuneScape. Well, I can help with that. For whatever reason you're clicking on this video, maybe you're trying to get your Inferno cape right now. Maybe you can't even get a I'm sorry. Maybe you can't get a fire cape. Maybe you're in the you can't get a fire cape, dude. Maybe you're somewhere in the middle ground where you're doing some chambers as Zarek, but you're tired of the garbage loot and the troll drops. Like, seriously, dude. Under 20 mil for a dex. You should sell that for real money and buy toilet paper because that's all it's good for. Is wiping your ass. Maybe you want to get into the Theater of Blood where the big boys play.
Watch my guide on that, by the way.
For whatever reason, Papa Tasty is here to help. Let's get it. Alright, my flavor family, today I'm going to go over my top 10 pieces of advice to get your RuneScape account jacked, stacked, and cracked. Now, we're going to be starting off with the simple ones here, and we're going to get a little bit more advanced as we get on the list. So, the first half is going to be widely applicable advice, things that every single player can and should do. The second half is going to get a bit more technical, a bit more advanced for the later game players watching. So, we're going to start off with number 10. Set goals for yourself. Seriously, the fastest way to burn out is by logging on aimlessly, bank standing for a few minutes with some guy who won't stop talking about how baked he is, and seeing the endless spam bots fill up your chat log. Spoiler alert, that guy is not going to buy your Dragon Claws for 80 mil. Anyway, have a long-term goal broken up by shorter goals, maybe like the quest cape, maybe unlocking Vorkath, maybe getting all of your diary lamps that you can to train to 77 runecrafting without actually training that lukewarm piss pot level skill, but log on with purpose. Making a list of goals gives you a clear path and lets you look back and see all the progress you've made. Easy peasy. Number 9. Do your quests. Seriously, do them. The sheer amount of content, training methods, money makers unlocked with quests is actually ludicrous. Oh, but what money makers can I do with these stats? Literally nothing. Your account sucks. But guess what? The Quest Helper plugin is free. Go unlock chins, catch those little things, man. Head to the Sepulchre. Run around like the crackhead at your local gas station. It's not important. Just please, do your quests. Number 8. Now we're getting into money territory here. This is something that a lot of people need to hear. Prioritize your spending. I've touched on this briefly in a couple other of my videos, but until you have a completely maxed account, the money you earn is not yours. It belongs to your Bibles. You don't need a huge amount of money to start with, really. You only need to purchase enough for quest requirements, maybe diary requirements if you're working on those, but if you are a level 80 credit card warrior with full bandos and a 600 total, you should be publicly executed. I don't care if you're having fun. Do you think we play this game to have fun? I hate this game. Having fun and being good are the exact opposite. They are mutually exclusive. Anyway, the best things to drop raw cash into are 83 construction, which seriously, get that. Max house is dope. And rigor, which is basically free right now, so get that. Get it right now. You don't need tacits, you don't need armadillo, you don't need ancestral. Just look up like a standard gear progression guide and tailor it for your current goals. It will save you a lot of money and time in the long run. So branching into that is number 7. Understand how much your time is worth. What's your best moneymaker? For some people, it's Theater of Blood. You could make 6 to 8 million an hour. And for others, it's fletching, where maybe you make 200k an hour. Whatever it might be, that is the value of your hour. So use this figure to determine how much you should be spending on your skills. Let me give you an example here. So say you're 50 construction and you want to train to 83 for that dope house I was talking about. Now, a common method would be using oak planks here. So at the time of recording this, that will cost about 18 mil and take about 5 hours of training. Now, maybe you want to ball out and use mahogany planks. Well, guess what? That's going to be 40 mil, more than double the cost. And how much time does that save you? Well, that 5 hours of training becomes 3. You save 2 hours for 22 million more GP. Now, if your hour is worth 11 mil, then technically that's worth it. But it's not. You're going to have to do 10 hours of Vorkath to make up for that. Now, here's where I might surprise some of you. You can absolutely do that if you want. Construction sucks, and maybe you like Vorkath, in which case ball out, my guy, do that. All I'm saying is that the value of your time is absolutely something that you should take into account. Number 6, never stake. there are 3 possible outcomes for staking. 1, you quit. 2, you start scamming people. And 3, the worst one, you make an Iron Man. Now, it may be a little hypocritical for me to say this, as I definitely have staked in the past, and my Sweaty Sunday series involves the possibility of staking, but that's pending review. And here's the thing. I know my limits. I don't really have an addictive personality, but even then, when I do a stake and I lose, I'm like, oh man, like I have some cash to burn. Like I should just double it up so I don't walk away negative. It's just dangerous, man. Like you really got to know your limits. Just please practice safe staking, or better yet, don't go there at all. Now it's time for us to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty here, some immediately applicable advice and not just broad concepts to follow. So starting off is number 5. Use F keys, please. I didn't realize that people don't use these sometimes. I come from a World of Warcraft background, so keybinds are kind of in my nature. Now, if you don't know what an F key is, please sit and learn. Using the F keys on your keyboard, you can swap between different pages of your inventory, like your spellbook or your prayers, without having to click the actual pages. Now, I know almost all of you know what these are, but if you aren't using them, then you don't deserve food. In real life, like seriously, it saves so much time and so many clicks that I don't know, dude, just use them. Also, if your F keys on your keyboard are weird like mine, there is a RuneLite plugin called Key Remapping that lets you rebind them to whatever keys you want. I use this and it's lovely, so on to the next tip. Now, number 4, this might be the most important tip I give you here. Learn what a game tick is. A game tick, sometimes called a game cycle, is the fundamental unit of time that any actions going to the game server are processed on, so it sounds a little bit complicated, but I will break it down. RuneScape servers run at 100 ticks per minute, so one game tick happens every 0.6 seconds. Now, actions within RuneScape can only occur on those ticks. For example, eating a piece of food. That occurs the next game tick after you click it, and now you can't eat for another 3 ticks. That's the cooldown. That's why you can't spam food to heal. Now, most of you have heard of a game tick, and I'm not going to get too into it because that would literally be an entire video in and of itself, but I will link a stellar video by PurpleGod who explains them very much in depth. What you need to know is that every single encounter in RuneScape can be defined by game ticks. At lower levels, it's not super important, but when you get into things like Chambers, Tob, and especially Inferno, you will need an in-depth understanding of game ticks. I have a fringe conspiracy theory here that RuneScape is essentially just a rhythm game. It's like Guitar Hero that you click for. The entire game exists at 100 beats per minute. Number 3, learn how to prayer flick. Once you get the concept of game ticks down, flicking can be a very useful tool to add to your arsenal. It's essentially necessary for the Inferno, can be really helpful in raids or things like Dagannoth Kings, or if you're like me, you're so lazy that if you're near the end of a Slayer trip or a bossing trip and you don't have any prayer potions, you'll actually refuse to go back to the bank and just sit there and flick. Personally, I will work as hard as possible to make sure that I don't have to do any work. And it's really not that hard, guys. If you turn on the RuneLite Metronome plugin, it's an interesting way to kind of help learn how to flick. And once again, I'm going to put another PurpleGod video about it in the description. Shout out PurpleGod. I don't think he makes content anymore, but we appreciate you, my friend. Number 2. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Also follow me on Twitch. I stream every day, twitch.tv/tastyosrs. And finally, number 1. This is the biggest piece of advice that I can give you guys. Take care of yourself. Seriously, like go for a run, get to the gym, lift some weights. I mean, there's a reason that esports teams have their athletes work with a personal trainer. It's because their physical health will absolutely translate into sharper mental and physical acuity in-game and out of game. And at the end of the day, RuneScape is just a bunch of imaginary pixels, guys. I promise you, there are more important things out there, and you will thank yourself for taking care of your body when you're 80, you know? And not all of us are blessed with good mental health. That might seem like an impossible task for some of you guys to get up and go for a run right now, and look, that's okay. It's not your fault. If you can't do that, go for a walk. If you can't do that, clean your room. If you can't do that, just open a window and drink some water. Just take a shower, guys. Seriously, just do something to help care for yourself, because it might be the spark that you need. Now, I know RuneScape players tend to play a lot of RuneScape as an avoidant behavior, and I am certainly not innocent of that, but all I ask is that you're conscious of the choices that you're making. And I know this is not like a meme-filled outro like the rest of this video, but that is because I care about you. Yes, you, listening to this right now, wherever or whenever you are, Papa Tasty's got your back. Remember that. So thank you everyone so much for watching. We are creeping closer and closer to that 1K subscriber mark, which is like a huge goal for me right now, guys. Seriously, thank you everyone for all of your support, all of your kind words. We are doing so well, and I know we're gonna hit it soon. So spoiler alert, we're not stopping there either. Some of you guys might know my goal by the end of the year is 100,000 subscribers, and I truly believe we can hit that if things keep going the way they are. So let's make that happen, guys. Like this video if you think it deserves a like, leave a comment telling me your favorite Italian dish, and drop a sub if you really like me. And as always, stay tasty.